Operation Bernhard counterfeit currency. Behind the front lines of the Second World War, the Nazis launched a silent strike aimed not at soldiers, but at the very heart of the British economy. This was Operation Bernhard, the largest counterfeiting scheme in human history. Under the direction of the SS, more than 134 million British pounds were printed by prisoners at the Sachsenhausen concentration camp. These were not amateur fakes. They were masterpieces of deception, crafted with such precision that they matched the exact watermark and linen paper of the era. Here is the part that will truly haunt you. By 1950, the Bank of England was forced into a desperate retreat. They realized their economy was so saturated with Nazi-made notes that they could no longer distinguish the Crown's own currency from the work of concentration camp forgers. Consequently, they had to recall and withdraw all 5-pound notes from circulation, effectively redesigning the nation's entire monetary system to survive the aftermath of the war. Today, possessing a hoard of these notes is not considered a hobby, it is a federal crime. Under international anti-counterfeiting laws, these items are designated as illegal contraband. If you attempt to deposit or authenticate them at a financial institution, they are legally mandated to seize the assets and notify authorities immediately. Unregistered automatic war trophies. For many families of World War II veterans, a dusty trunk in the attic might hold more than just old letters and fading photographs. It is incredibly common to find a German machine pistol 40 or a Japanese Type 99 light machine gun tucked away as a cherished family heirloom. However, these war trophies are currently ticking legal time bombs. Under the National Firearms Act, the window to legally register these fully automatic weapons slammed shut during a final 30-day amnesty period back in 1968. Since that deadline passed over half a century ago, there has been absolutely no legal pathway to register a newly discovered machine gun. The terrifying reality is that according to federal law, an unregistered machine gun cannot be grandfathered in or legalized under any circumstances. Its mere presence in your home constitutes a felony, punishable by up to 10 years in federal prison and a $250,000 fine. Even if the weapon was a gift from a heroic grandfather and has sat untouched for 80 years, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives views it as contraband. Because you cannot sell, inherit, or even surrender it to a museum without a pre-existing registration. The only legal options usually involve surrendering the weapon to authorities for total destruction, or rendering it permanently inoperable through specific, destructive torch-cutting methods. Hate symbols and criminal memorabilia. While many nations protect the possession of historical artifacts under free speech, Central Europe operates under a drastically different legal code. If you are a collector traveling through Germany or Austria, an innocent-looking SS lapel pin or a swastika emblazoned flag in your suitcase can transform you from a tourist into a criminal the moment you clear customs. This is governed by Section 86 of the German Criminal Code, which strictly prohibits the use of symbols of unconstitutional organizations. This law is so unyielding that it doesn't just apply to political rallies. It extends to public trade, distribution, and even the visible transport of these items. The uncompromising reach of modern enforcement is what truly shocks observers. In a single year, German authorities have recorded over 20,000 cases of use of symbols of unconstitutional organizations. And the law is so strict that even modified symbols that retain the essence of the original can trigger a 3-year prison sentence or a massive fine. This creates a bizarre global paradox. A belt buckle that auctions for thousands of dollars in New York or London is a prohibited item that can trigger a police raid in Berlin. Unless the item is being used for strictly educational or research purposes, the transition from historical artifact to illegal propaganda is instantaneous. Illegal specialized ammunition, poison and dum-dum rounds, expanding into the dark evolution of ballistics, Some World War II munitions were engineered with a cruelty that transcends standard combat. Among the most feared were dum-dum rounds, hollow-point bullets designed to expand or fragment upon impact, and the sinister poison bullets developed by the Axis powers. Under the Hague Convention of 1899, these were banned from international warfare because they caused unnecessary suffering. Yet, during the desperate final years of the war, German snipers often utilized the 7.92mm B Patron, or observation round, which contained a tiny phosphorus charge that exploded on contact, creating a horrific, unhealable cavity in the target. The most chilling innovation was the German poison bullet, containing calcium cyanide. Forensic records from 1944 show that these rounds were designed so that even a non-fatal graze to an extremity would result in a painful death from systemic poisoning within 10 minutes. Today, international treaties like the Geneva Protocol and various national firearms acts treat these items not as historical curiosities, but as prohibited lethal devices. If you are found in possession of original specialized toxic clips from the war era, you are holding prohibited military-grade weaponry. In many jurisdictions, possessing even a single crate of these 80-year-old rounds can bypass standard gun laws and enter the realm of possession of extreme lethal contraband, carrying criminal penalties including decades in prison, because these items were designed specifically to violate the laws of humanity. Looted art, the stolen masterpieces. Imagine owning a painting worth $50 million. Only to have the government seize it from your wall without paying you a single cent in compensation. This is the reality of Raubkunst, or Nazi looted art. During the war, the Third Reich orchestrated the theft of approximately 600,000 artworks across Europe, systematically stripping Jewish families and national museums of their cultural treasures. In 2012, the world was stunned when authorities raided a cluttered apartment in Munich belonging to Cornelius Gurlitt, discovering 1,280 lost masterpieces by artists like Picasso and Matisse, worth an estimated $1.1 billion. The turning point for collectors today is the Holocaust Expropriated Art Recovery Act of 2016, which effectively stripped away the statutes of limitations, meaning that even 80 years later, the original heirs have a permanent legal claim that overrides any current bill of sale. This creates a terrifying void of title for modern investors. If a provenance search reveals your family heirloom was once part of a Nazi seizure, you legally own nothing. You are simply a temporary holder of a crime scene artifact. The law mandates its return to the rightful descendants, often leaving the modern buyer with a 100% financial loss and a potential criminal investigation for possession of stolen property on an international scale. Sunken war graves and sovereign shipwrecks. Thousands of World War II warships currently rest on the ocean floor, but international law dictates they are never abandoned property. Under the Sunken Military Craft Act, these vessels remain the permanent sovereign property of their originating nations. They are legally classified as war graves, serving as final resting places for thousands of fallen sailors. A criminal industry has emerged to scavenge these sites for low-background steel, metal forged before 1945 that is free from atomic radiation and essential for high-precision scientific sensors. The legal crackdown is severe. In one major case involving the HMS Prince of Wales and HMS Repulse, scavengers used industrial cranes to steal nearly 50% of the ship's steel, triggering an international criminal investigation and a formal diplomatic crisis between the United Kingdom and Indonesia. Modern authorities now utilize satellite tracking and sonar to monitor these coordinates. For a private diver, removing even a single brass shell or a piece of ceramic is classified as federal theft and desecration of a grave. Possessing artifacts from these wrecks can result in immediate seizure, massive fines, and prison sentences of up to 5 years. Pervitin, the Wehrmacht's methamphetamine. Pervitin was the chemical engine of the German Blitzkrieg, a stimulant distributed to soldiers to eliminate the need for sleep for up to 72 hours. In 1940 alone, the German Military High Command ordered 35 million tablets for the invasion of France. Each pill contained 3 milligrams of pure methamphetamine. While a collector might find an original Pervitin tube in a vintage medical kit, modern narcotics laws provide no historical exemption for controlled substances. Possessing even a single original tube of Pervitin is legally identical to carrying modern crystal meth, making the owner liable for prosecution under Schedule I or Schedule II drug statutes. Forensic tests show the chemical compound remains active even after 80 years. Law enforcement agencies do not distinguish between a historical relic and a street drug. Trying to sell these items online often triggers an automatic red flag for narcotics units. In many jurisdictions, the discovery of these pills leads to felony charges for possession of a controlled substance, which can carry a prison sentence of 10 to 20 years, depending on the quantity found. Victim gold. Assets of the Holocaust. The most harrowing physical legacy of the Second World War is not found in weaponry, but in gold bars forged from the darkest chapters of human history. During the Holocaust, the SS systematically stripped victims of everything, including an estimated 8 tons of gold jewelry, spectacles, and dental fillings. This victim gold was sent to the Deutsche Reichsbank, where it was melted down into bullion bars. Modern metallurgical tests can detect specific purity levels and trace elements, such as mercury from dental amalgams found in concentrations of over 10 parts per million, which distinguishes this gold from standard bank bullion and links it directly to camp atrocities. Today, possessing or trading these specific bars is strictly prohibited under international restitution laws and the Washington Conference principles. Global financial databases track the serial numbers of approximately 2,000 known Nazi gold shipments, many of which were used to fund the German war machine. Any individual attempting to sell or profit from gold, verified as victim gold, faces the immediate seizure of the asset without compensation, as these are classified as proceeds of crimes against humanity under federal statutes like the U.S. Holocaust Expropriated Art Recovery Act. Beyond the legal penalties, which can include heavy fines and imprisonment for money laundering, these items are considered sacred evidence of genocide that the law mandates must be repatriated or used for victim compensation funds. Chemical weapons and nerve gas shells. World War II saw the production of the deadliest chemical agents ever devised, with Germany stockpiling over 70,000 tons of toxic munitions. This included 12,000 tons of taboon, a nerve gas so lethal that a single drop kills an adult in under 20 minutes. After 1945, the Allies dumped approximately 300,000 tons of these weapons into the Baltic Sea or into hidden bunkers. Today, these 80-year-old shells leak hazardous substances that remain active. Possessing a live chemical shell violates the Chemical Weapons Convention, a treaty signed by 193 nations, mandating the total elimination of such stockpiles. If an individual discovers an unexploded chemical shell, the legal response is instantaneous. Finding one taboon or mustard gas canister triggers an Orange Alert protocol, involving specialized nuclear and chemical units to evacuate everything within a 1-kilometer radius. Legally, there is no historical ownership of a weapon of mass destruction. Under modern anti-terrorism laws, unauthorized possession of chemical agents can lead to life imprisonment and fines exceeding $1 million. Even empty shells are prohibited contraband because toxic residues can contaminate environments for over 100 years. Glassmine 43, the invisible killer. Toward the end of the war, as metal resources became scarce, Nazi engineers developed a weapon characterized by pure calculated cruelty, the Glassmine 43. This anti-personnel mine consisted of a thick glass bowl housing 200 grams of explosive. Because it contained zero metal components, it was virtually impossible for the mine detectors of the era, and even many modern devices, to locate it once buried. The specific horror of this weapon lies in the fact that glass shards are invisible on X-ray machines, meaning if a person triggers one, surgeons cannot effectively locate or remove the fragments from the victim's body. Today, these mines remain scattered across former European battlefields, their glass casings perfectly preserved, while their chemical fuses have become dangerously unstable over 80 years. Under the 1997 Ottawa Treaty, the production, stockpiling, and transfer of anti-personnel mines are strictly prohibited by 164 nations. Possessing a functional glassmine 43 today is a major criminal offense, as it is classified as a non-detectable, improvised explosive device designed solely to mine civilians. Authorities treat the discovery of these items as an immediate public safety threat, requiring specialized bomb disposal units to neutralize them, while the owner faces felony charges for possessing prohibited stealth weaponry. Heisenberg's uranium cubes, radioactive relics. The pinnacle of dangerous World War II collectibles is undoubtedly the uranium cubes created for the Nazi nuclear program led by Werner Heisenberg. These 2-kilogram cubes of pure natural uranium were designed to be suspended in a heavy water reactor as part of a desperate race to build an atomic bomb. Of the approximately 664 cubes produced, only a small fraction have been recovered by the Allied Alsace mission. Each cube is a concentrated source of ionizing radiation, and owning one without specialized heavy metal shielding is a direct violation of international nuclear non-proliferation treaties and the Atomic Energy Act. The legal reality for anyone holding these cubes today is absolute. They are classified as nuclear material, not historical souvenirs. The International Atomic Energy Agency and national security bureaus like the FBI maintain a zero-tolerance policy where unauthorized possession of weapon-grade or precursor nuclear material can trigger immediate arrest on terrorism-related charges. Because uranium has a half-life of 4.5 billion years, these cubes will remain hazardous forever. If you are found with one, you face federal seizure of the object and a potential life sentence in prison, as the government views any private possession of nuclear fuel as a catastrophic threat to environmental safety and global security. Human remains. The darkest trophies. The final and most disturbing category involves the victims themselves. During the Pacific Theater, some soldiers collected human trophies, taking skulls or teeth of fallen enemies as souvenirs. In 1944, Life magazine published a photograph of a woman with a Japanese skull sent by her boyfriend, sparking international outrage. While technically violating the Geneva Convention, thousands of these remains were smuggled home in duffel bags. Today, under the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, possessing, displaying, or selling human remains is a federal felony. If you find this deep dive into the darker side of history valuable, consider subscribing to help us continue uncovering these hidden truths. In 2021, the FBI intensified crackdowns on markets where war-era skulls were auctioned for thousands of dollars. Possessing such a trophy leads to immediate arrest for desecrating remains and violating the 1949 Geneva Convention, which mandates respectful burial for all war dead. These are not collectibles. They are evidence of war crimes. Modern law enforcement works tirelessly to repatriate these remains, ensuring this dark tradition ends with a prison sentence for anyone attempting to profit from it. Which of these 12 items surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below.